Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike. Today I want to talk to you about something I've been wanting to talk about for a while now, and that's indie creators that are taking the 80s to the next level, is continuing these toy lines from the 80s, picking up where Kenner and LJN and all these other companies left off with these properties and giving us what we wanted. And some people maybe don't want them. Some people really do want them, but I'm going to talk about 7 indie creators and an 8th bonus there, but discussion about this is more of why I'm doing it, because these people won't be making it forever. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, try to get a hold of it now, because I have one of these points that you just can't get ever again coming up. First on my list, I'm going to start with some of these that are more like companies. Ramen Toy is company making this stuff, but it's Ace is a fan, and as a fan, Ace is making a lot of the stuff that we wanted. Started with 80s Commander Centurions and giving us some stuff that never really got made. There was only prototypes of, but on a different scale than Vintage. And here's the problem. If not enough people back something, then it doesn't get made. Like the Apache Commander was going to get made, the John Thunder, and it didn't get made for the retro scale because not enough people supported it. Not enough people backed it to break even on the project, and that's all they need to do. Enough people back it to break even. And with that, as you can see right here, there's some 80s Commander stuff. Some of the stuff's still on discounted price. If you see up top that great white for Kenner mask, some of that stuff it's a little pricey on that thing, but when it's sold out, they're not doing another run unless it's another color or some sort of a special, some sort of an exclusive. Now, Ramen Toy makes a lot of other stuff that is, I think, kind of targeting the 112 scale modern market, but also they're targeting the vintage market too, which I love. And I hear something's going to happen with Visionaries. Don't know exactly what it's going to look like, what's going to come of that, but we do know about their 80s Commanders. Now, looking at this, you can see we're sold out on Hacker, we're sold out on Land Drones, which is the Traumatizer, but their own stylized take on that. And they keep reissuing the original 3, and they figure out a way to get the original 3 because there's so many similarities they can piggyback on that production run. But when you look up the Antagonist Scientists, once those are sold out, there's going to be no reason for Ramen Toy or any of these other companies, including Stan Solo, to do another full production run of 1,000 or 2,000 or however many they're producing, again, if these things linger and take so long to sell out. But they're still doing it as a commitment to the fans. One of the things they did with their Red Gullwing, or their version of the Thunderhawk, this was originally put out with black interior. They made some modifications, changes to it. It no longer has tampograph. No, and now it has tan interior. So if you like the stuff that's getting made, jump on top of it. A lot of people are saying, well, things get reissued a lot. Well, they do, but they also get changed. So the first one is usually not always the best, but usually has stuff in it that other iterations don't. Next on my list is the Pro Custom figures that made droids and Ewoks unreleased. Series 2, Kenner. And I got all these, and I've reviewed these, so if you want to see a review of these, it's on my channel. It's a lot of fun. Several of these weapons accessories are reuse, Kenner reuse, but some are brand new, like brand new, made for the figure. And Ewoks, I did get a whole set of the Ewoks. I mean, it's only 6 figures. They are pricey. They're pricey. They are a full-on production run, injection molded with plastic, and they look exactly like the prototypes. In fact, I actually refer to these over prototypes because these are factory made. Prototypes are not there. They do not hold together very well. I've seen a couple people that showed their prototypes and say, do not try to move the joints on them. You could break them. And then here we go with card backs, but they did do a full carded set, which was more expensive. All are still available at procustoms.com, but is he going to be making them forever? Can you still get this set from him 20 years from now? And what would it cost if you try to get this set 20 years from now off of somebody else, a secondary party selling their only set? It'd be kind of expensive. Now, there's one thing that probably will never get made again, and I've asked about this, and I'm thinking it probably won't get made, and that is the White Witch. They made an almost precise replica of the original White Witch prototype, and it was a big deal when it was discovered back in 2017, I think. that somebody found a White Witch prototype, and that was pretty awesome. Here it goes right here. I think it was Toys R Gus Lopez. I think Gus Lopez is the one that found it and has it in his collection. Of course, he's one of the greatest toy collections in the world, and learned a lot from him and his page back in the 90s. So he was a pioneer of the Star Wars collecting. But the White Witch, this has all the functions. Pro Custom Figures made sure it did everything that Kenner did. Made a few improvements over the Kenner design, but for the most part, it is about 95% exactly what Kenner would have done. But you can't get it anymore, and when they originally made the first run, it was $800, something along that line, shipped out the door. Next up is Stan Solo, and I could spend probably an hour talking about Stan Solo. I've got Yak Face and a handful of things they've done. I really like what they've done over there, and I'm getting behind on what they're making because they are like $40 a figure, and it's getting more expensive and pricey. But I do kind of pick things up here and there. They do have a good Etsy shop. Now, the Etsy shop makes it a little bit easier because the product is actually in the U.S. versus having to ship it from the U.K. and lose all that buying power on the conversion rate. Now it's just priced in U.S. dollars and it ships straight from the U.S. I don't know exactly how that's going on in a warehouse here or not, but don't really care. It's just better than it was in the early days when I first started buying Stan Solo stuff back in the day. And this is the R2-D2 pop-up lightsaber. So they were making some stuff that it's just hard to get. A lot of what they do is stuff that was hard to get from the original line. You're paying $300 or $400. You can get it from them for $40. So that's really awesome, and it looks exactly the same. And I got to tell you the truth, I absolutely do not care if I have the original on the shelf. I don't want to pay $500 for the original when I could get a $45 almost exact precise factory-made injection molded plastic. The colors match everything. Perfect. Stan Solo, great job, and there's no reason to chase down an original if you have theirs. Next up, we've got Anson, and he is making some amazing Centurion stuff. My mind is absolutely blown on what he's achieving here. Now, he does it in a little bit different fashion. He 3D prints different versions until he gets to his final. His final is a full injection molded plastic and injection molded and dyed plastic. I've reviewed all of his stuff all his creations up to a certain point, and he's created more stuff now. I'm going to be getting more of those to review and take a look at. Very exciting. Look at this display. Could you imagine having this display with all of the stuff that was originally made and then all the stuff that never got made but was in the show? Some of the stuff was already prototyped out. Some of the stuff he literally created on his own from thin air and said, this is what I would like to have seen if it was made back in the day. Fantastic job adding in a lot of different things. He's adding in some action features, what he would think it should do. A whole lot of fun right there. And then giving it more enhanced articulation, not hyper articulated, but what a solid evolutionary step of articulation that you would get in a Centurion's figure. I do understand the prototypes already showed they were going to go that direction, but it kind of carried that over with the female figures. At this pace, it's amazing what all he's accomplished. And I'm guessing by the time he's done, he'll make everything that was unproduced that he likes, and which is probably everything. It's amazing. I got to tell you this. 3-4 years ago, 2019, when I first saw these unproduced items, I never ever thought we would get them. I thought we might get one or two, maybe from a HasLab or something. Never thought we'd get them all from one creator doing an amazing job. Great job, Anson. Let's jump into the Thundercast. Now, I did get this 3D printed, homemade, more or less, Mad Bubbler. I'm more than ecstatic to have it in my collection. It's one of those things, it's one of those myths. It's a prototype myth, but it was a creation made by somebody. I can't even remember who, but my understanding that same person was making Tongosauruses, and I didn't buy one at the time. I should have. No, Tongosaurus is not Ace McCloud's nickname with the ladies. It is actually a crazy little kind of monster, a sea monster here, but it looks really cool. I actually kind of feel like this is more in lines of the Astromote monster, as kind of like a weird one-time showed up once for a little bit in an episode, and it is something that they actually made. But they didn't make a whole lot of them because they knew it wouldn't sell very well, and it probably got clearanced out. It was probably cheaper to buy this than a Lion-O back in the day after clearances and stuff. It really wasn't even that expensive, but one of those things, I would have loved to have had one. I had the opportunity to get a a custom one. I should have, because I have no problems having customs. Instead of spending $3,000 on one of these, then it's kind of nice to get one for like a couple $100. Someone on eBay right now is selling a box. They're making their own box too. Could you imagine having a Tongasaurus, even if it's 3D printed, and a box, and it looks like it's all complete? I mean, that's fantastic. The age we live in right now, you can, if you dream it, you can have it. If you dream it, you can buy it, and you can have it. Except, I missed the boat on Tongasaurus, so I guess I'm never going to have one. But I'm not crying about it, but I'd jump on it if I had an opportunity in the future. Looking at Tiger Sharks, this is a toy line it is as rare as Knickerbocker's Lord of the Rings. It is also as rare as Luco Over the Top, and as pricey for the figures, get their accessories and all that with it. Thank goodness Luco Over the Top has no accessories. Thank goodness. But looking at this is what they call the fish tank, and it is a play set that was originally prototyped by LGN. They were planning on making this if this took off. Reason it didn't take off, of course, because it was part of the comic strip, didn't have its own show, and it was just like in the mix of a bunch of other shows, got lost in the mix, and nobody really even knew about it. A few people that did collect it and love it, but somebody actually 3D modeled this, printed it, and made them. I think charged like $300, $350, something like that for it. Not a bad price, considering the people that do have it are the only ones in the world that'll ever own this, unless somebody else takes this project on. I don't think they will, because 2020 was a time people had a lot of time on their hands. Now they're back to work, and the person that made this has gone completely radio silent. Now there are some of these other ones over here: Dragonstein the Sark, the Sawbill, and the Shark Hammer. I do look forward to the day that I have the opportunity, the time, to make my Tiger Sharks Retro Wednesday video. That will be a lot of fun, but I'm still missing a few pieces. Next up, we have Visionaries. Now, I've already talked about this in another video, that there are some Series 2 figures. And I think there's 18 or 19, something along those lines. But what I didn't talk about was the fact that there is somebody, the Picture Box custom creator, that makes these. So eventually I'm going to get around to reviewing these. But this is also mind-blowing, that somebody has taken the time, the years of time, to 3D model, to print them, to paint them, and they are not exactly the same. He's added ankle tilts to them. He's added a little bit to it, so it doesn't have a hole for a stand. But there's so much to this, so much detail into each one. There's so little information about these, just a handful of pictures that even exist per figure, and he created them from scratch, and it is impressive. I'll be going into that, but think about this. One day, he's going to make as many as he makes and never make any more again. He's eventually going to stop doing this. Jump on it while you can. You can find him in the Facebook groups, but when I eventually get to the video, I'll link some more information. Last thing I want to say is, if you're a Transformers fan, there's some really great 3D printed stuff out there right now that's recreating old kits. And maybe I would just say inspired by kits of yesteryear. And this one here I reviewed a couple of weeks back, maybe last week, maybe the week before, I don't even remember when I reviewed it. But this one is a fun kit. I'm very happy that I own it. I'm very happy that I upgraded these figures. Some people said they love the charm of the old ones. I am not in that camp. I don't at all like the charm of the old ones. I like them so much more with this stuff on them. Even if they still look like bricks. Hey, G1 figures look like bricks. But you know what I hear more people concerned about is passing on something called Crazy Debbie. See, a lot of people are in search of this Crazy Debbie kit, and it is really hard to find. Now, I got mine back when they came out. I paid $25 for not just the leg upgrade, every upgrade they had on clearance. There were times where all this stuff went on clearance, and I was like, I love the idea of it. And I bought it not because it was an upgrade. I bought it because I had an extra couple of sets of Constructicons, and I wanted to put something on there. I didn't want to chase down the original parts, and this was as good as the original parts. I got it and realized it was way better than the original parts. And with that, that's why people chase this down. I'm happy that I have my set, but I can see why other people are disappointed that they don't have their set. But at the end of the day, it is awesome they made these. But then in this research, I found, did X-Transbots do the same thing? Did they make an upgrade kit? Did Junkion Blacksmith? Well, I've heard about that, and I saw that one. I was kind of on the fence about getting that one too. But at the end of the day, these are some options They no longer exist unless you want to pay big bucks. Super 7's not really trying to fill the gaps from the past with their Silverhawks. They're actually making them in the new scale, but it's still nice to have it. It's still kind of fun, and I bet you could put a copper kit on this and make it work. I haven't even tried yet, but let me know what you think about all of these. Did you know all this exists? Do you know about these creators and what they've created? Does any of this pique your interest? And do you agree with me? Do you agree that if you want this in your collection, you should jump on it now? Or do you feel like you should wait, roll the dice, and see if you can get it maybe cheaper on sale, someone else makes it? Because if you roll the dice, you might do without forever. But let me know in the comments below, like, subscribe. Have a happy Retro Wednesday. Time to hang out.